A lot of y'all need to figure out how to get a life. When I say you need to figure out how to get a life, what I mean is you have to figure out how to create a life where you're actually living instead of just existing. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to get a life, how to build a life that goes above and beyond the typical going through the motions, and I'll give you some quick tips that'll help you get more about this, relatively short experience that you get to have on this planet. But before we get to that, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. That notification bell is very important because you're going to get brand new videos. I'm going to start creating multiple videos per week, so you're not going to want to miss those. Also, if you enjoy the video, please make sure to smash that like button because it'll help other people find it who might benefit from watching. Leave a comment. If you have ideas for new videos you want me to share, you can post them there as well, and I will make new videos based on what you put there. So do all the stuffs on the YouTube for me, please. So when I say you have to figure out how to get a life, what I mean is that it's not all about money. It's not about status. It's not that you have to have a Lamborghini and travel to 67 countries and be out on the town and have 10,000 side hustles and meditate and read and all this stuff, right? It's that you want to avoid going through a life where you're going through the motions and you're just kind of doing what you've been told to do and you're not really feeling fulfilled, right? So in my own life, when it comes to being entertained or when it comes to being mentally stimulated, I'm literally, believe it or not, I literally 0.0 seconds of my day, I'm never bored. I am never bored. I'm never sitting around wondering what I should do. I'm never caught in a state where I feel like I have to watch 5 hours of TV to distract myself. I always have something to do. I always have something I'm working on. I always have something that I'm engaged in. Both things that are productive, but other things that are also meaningful to me, like spending time with family and friends or with my child or doing hobbies that I enjoy, things that I love. So it's not just about work. Play is important too. But most people, they get caught in this kind of rat race existence that cancels out both elements of their life, right? So they go to work every day. They don't really enjoy their jobs. They kind of commute back and forth. So that's a bunch of time. Then by the time they get home, they're tired. So, they throw on a little bit of TV, watch that for a couple hours. Then by the weekend, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having fun, but a lot of people, what they do on the weekends, it's just to numb and distract themselves. Like, are you really having fun? Like, if you constantly have to put chemicals into your body to feel good, loosen up, and enjoy the present moment, like, is that really it? So like that's what a lot of people go through. It's just like this continuous kind of Groundhog Day cycle where through the work week, they're working for the weekend, and then the weekend they distract themselves or do things, counterproductive activities to make them feel kind of okay about going back to work. Then they do that, they experience that whole process, not really engaged, not really present, not really enjoying or experiencing things for multiple decades on end, and then they just die. And if they look back at their life and they compare the amount of significant moments, or even not even significant moments, but moments where they were actually in presence, actually enjoying things, versus the amount of time they just spent going through the motions, whether that's going to work or, going out on the weekend or watching TV or being distracted on their phones, you'd find, sadly, that the vast majority of most people's lives, I'm not saying everyone, but the vast majority of most people's lives is spent doing nothing that's going to, not doing many things that they're going to look back on at the end of their life fondly on. Not a lot of things that are memorable, not a lot of things that are important, meaningful, that provide joy, that give them their life a sense of color or make them feel like their time on this earth mattered. Okay? So that's the fate that I want you to avoid. And I'm just going to give you a couple quick tips on how to do that. The number one tip that I'd have for you, find something compelling to work on. Find something that is so interesting to you to work on. Even if it's just a project, it doesn't necessarily have to be a business. Find something compelling to work on that pulls you to be motivated, and then it kind of consumes you and kind of takes over your mind when you do it. So this is why I always talk about the importance of figuring out what your strengths are, because when you figure out what kind of your natural talents and strengths are, those are going to be things that are going to be easier for you to get traction with. So it's going to be compelling to work on because you're going to get some pretty early feedback that you're good early on, and then you can keep working on it, and then you can, really build a level of passion from it. So a lot of people are waiting for passion to fall in their lap, but in reality, you create passion through getting good at something. You create passion through developing competence at a skill. So there's a book called So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport, and he talks about, instead of thinking about how you feel, how passionate things are going to make you feel, focus on providing something that's going to be of benefit to other people. Use your skills towards a positive end, and then once you're getting better at it, you're gonna feel good. So I developed the skill of writing. I started writing 7 years ago, and I kind of had a feel for it pretty quick. It was very interesting to work on. I loved getting better. I loved seeing the numbers of fans grow. I loved improving my craft, creating projects like books, all the blogging I've done. It was like something that became a real obsession to me. And every single, it's not like my life is perfect, but every single moment that I got to sit down and write, I was totally stuck in the present moment. I had flow states. I was in touch with the work. Oftentimes it felt like someone, like something else, like a daemon took over my body, and I was like possessed, right? So no matter what else happens in my life, that time where I spent working on a project that was compelling to me and a skill that was fun to get good at, those moments are things that I'm going to be able to look back fondly on when I'm, sitting on my deathbed, Lord willing, if I make it that far. So find something compelling to work on, and don't expect the passion to come right away. Develop the passion through creating competence and getting good at something. Step 2 for figuring out how to get a life, instead of only just thinking about a passion project that you can turn into a business and building all these skills and being a productivity robot, also get some hobbies. Get some hobbies that you enjoy doing, things that are fun, and also things that aren't Netflix, drinking, hanging out at the bar on the weekends, typical things. Find actual hobbies that are fun for you to do outside of your job and outside of the normal kind of BS distraction-filled activities that people label as fun. So for me personally, I've gotten into a lot of different hobbies over the years. Writing did start out as a hobby that eventually turned into a business. Reading is another hobby. It's something that I love to do. I love to learn. I've recently developed a hobby. I go out to the shooting range and shoot guns. It's very fun for me. There's lots of things that I do that are just for my entertainment. I like going to art museums. I love looking at creations. I go to local art shows, things like that. So just have little things that are interesting for you to do. Just pick up a hobby. When you have hobbies, you're less likely to get bored, and it gives you a sense of, again, that present moment experiences make life meaningful. So you're always looking for things that are going to draw you into the present moment so that you don't feel distracted. When I'm in the middle of writing, I don't feel the need to pick up my phone and go on Instagram and distract myself or watch Netflix. If I'm at an art museum and I see something that's, inspiring to the point of awe, I can't help but do anything but look at that. I don't want to go on my phone, except maybe, to take a picture of it or whatever. So get some hobbies, get some things that you're interested in. And finding hobbies is as simple as thinking of the things that you've always wanted to try doing, and then just go do them. You have always wanted to go play the guitar, go sign up for guitar lessons. You've always wanted to learn how to rock climb, go rock climb. just pepper in those experiences more and start substituting some of those things with the normal activities that people consider fun, but they really just use as distractions. Next step or tip for figuring out how to get a life is you want to become a lifelong learner. You want to become a philosopher of your own life, right? So there's a method or a way of living called practical philosophy. And basically practical philosophy is where you start to learn things about the world, about yourself. You develop kind of hypotheses of the way the world works, the way that you work, and then you go and test that against the real world. And then you iterate over time, and you build a life that you want to live, and you construct it through your philosophy. So you should be spending time learning, right? Learn what it means to be a good life and practice those things. Learn things about yourself through experimentation and action and course correct over time. You should be cognizant and monitor different things in your life and focus on moving those dials until you kind of reach a good equilibrium. Like how is your health doing right now? How are your finances doing right now? How are your relationships doing right now? How is your spirituality, your happiness, your sense of meaning and purpose? How are those things going? So becoming an active examiner of your own self is really important, and it's really a key to having a life that's filled with meaning. I really believe so. There's a quote from Socrates, and he says, "An unexamined life isn't worth living." And I believe that's true. You should examine your life, and you should examine yourself. And sometimes self-examination is really painful. Sometimes brutally assessing your own behavior, from your strengths and your weaknesses to your patterns, to the mistakes you make over and over again, to, maybe some of your character flaws and negative traits. Examining those things can be painful, but working on kind of improving yourself by examining those things, the pain happens up front, but then there's a lot of joy that comes with fixing some of those areas and getting better. So the point of it isn't that you're ever aiming for perfection, or that you're creating this worldview where everything you see through the world is based on what's wrong with you or what you lack. It's just to focus on improvement and a sake of, a practical philosophy to build for yourself just for the sake of doing it. No one knows the perfect answers to how to live. But we've all throughout generations have tried to come at the answer from different angles. And even if you never fully answer the question, going through the process of figuring out does add a lot of meaning and fun. So figure it out for yourself. Don't try to figure out what the meaning of life is. For me, ask yourself what the meaning of life is, and really kind of think about it and ponder it, and use your actions in life to refine that definition. Look at yourself in the way that you really are. Don't, try to examine the way you actually are versus the way you think you are or the way you think you should be. Be honest with yourself. Examine the different areas of your life and focus on that practical philosophy. And you can look back, and even if you don't get everything right, you can say that you were an active participant in trying to make your life better and making the lives of other people around you better as well. Thanks for watching this video. Before we head out, there's a couple things that I want you to look at. Take a look at the description box below, and there's going to be a couple cool things in there for you. For those of you who like to read books, there's a link to my top 20 book recommendations, books that changed the way that I saw the world forever and helped me make dramatic improvements in my life. Go in the description below, check that out, get that resource. It's really, really awesome. Also, you're going to see links to my book, Real Help and Honest Guide to Self-Improvement. If you haven't got that book, go and get that book, because it's going to tell you those brutally honest truths that you need to change your life. There's links to all my social media profiles, different important stuff, links to other YouTube videos, all that good stuff. So make sure to check out everything in the description section. If you haven't already, again, make sure to like the video. If you liked it, make a comment, leave ideas for new videos so I can create new stuff. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that great stuff. Had a blast shooting this video. I will see you on the next one.